All right, people, we're back. Tony Lugo on Play It Forward, nominated by Davey Brule. Tony, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Writer director of Midnight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you, Davey, for nominating me. Looking forward to this.
Cool. Would you like to give us a little summary about yourself and or Midnight?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure. Midnight is it's a short film about a woman who at the time the film starts, her brother has passed of a drug overdose, and she takes it upon herself to go and seek out the people that sold her brother that drug that he OD'd on. It's like a dramatic. It's a drama with a bit of revenge in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the log line of it is, two women, no, out one out for revenge, the other redemption.
Mm-hmm. No.
And I think it's a really poignant juxtaposition that you set up because it's not commonly, the two aren't commonly kind of versus one
Right.
another,
Right.
redemption and revenge. But I think it's like very true and very apt. And the first question of Play It Forward is that germinal seed in you that inspired the movie. Where did that come from? Where did that idea, where did that feeling even live in you before it was formed into an idea?
Well, the overall theme of the film is dealing with loss, and I dealt with loss with the passing of my brother, and it's just a way I helped myself not get over it, but help. It helped with dealing with the flood of emotions that just don't seem to go anywhere. Sometimes they're on some days they're duller than others, but on most days they're intense. So being a writer, I thought to myself, how can I how can I help myself get through this? And coming up with the story of Midnight was the way I did that.
I think in my experience and opinion, the best art is a cathartic,
Mm-hmm.
and so it comes from that deep place of seeking relief and freedom. And
Right.
the trauma of losing anyone we love, yet someone so close to you and someone, I assume, relatively young,
Mm-hmm.
is something that is just devastating. And I can only imagine. I have a good friend, who same thing happened to
Mm-hmm.
him, with a
Yeah.
loss. And you just, I just wish you, that peace,
Thank you.
continued peace in your journey with that. Um,
I appreciate it. A little heavy to start the show with, huh?
no, man, it's real, it's
Yeah.
real. And everybody faces that. And it's
Right.
people don't talk about it.
Right.
People don't talk about that. And when you hear it and you hear somebody else just state it, there is
Mm-hmm.
liberation for all of us in it.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm hoping this process could help other people uh, come to not feel so ashamed of talking about things like that or things that hurt them.
Right, right, right. Because, yeah, I mean, it's so natural for us to feel ashamed at being
Mhm.
vulnerable at our own pain, at the hurt.
Yeah.
But that's what makes us human, and that's what we all share. Um,
Right.
so thanks again, man.
No, of course. That's why we tell stories, though, right? To have that human connection, right?
That's it. That is. That is.
Yeah.
I've heard that, from many storytellers and filmmakers that that is ultimately the most rewarding thing about their art making is, when they have an audience response that makes them feel heard, appreciated, and also that it was helpful, that they were of help to another human being. And they, like you said, a connection, and I think even so there's that connection with the other, but then there's the connection with ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's also a transcendent connection that has, outward ripple effects. The second, would you agree with that?
No, no, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's just about storytelling goes back as long as people have been able to write on walls.
Yeah.
So it's definitely people used it. Our ancestors used it to tell stories around a campfire in a cave. So it's just an evolution of where we've come from.
Yeah.
Just a connecting with people around us.
Yeah. Yeah. And connecting with the ancestors too. The relation of that, story from, the cave wall depictions, to the next generation transmitting that wisdom. The second question to play it forward is, the theme. Again, it's revenge versus redemption. And oftentimes, you think of revenge versus maybe peace, or revenge versus, forgiveness, right? But you switch it up. It's not just forgiveness here. You're talking about personal redemption. And that's a little different. And so now, having looked on the film as both the creator and as the audience, what do you believe the message? How do you interpret the meaning of the movie now?
That's an interesting question. I definitely feel that the meaning is still the ability to deal with the pain and look past things and have people that are be able to be open enough to see the different sides of other people. I feel that in particular Midnight, it really deals with battling personal demons and coming through on the other side and realizing that someone else wants the same thing as you, but just in a different manner, and it teaches you personally to to evolve to a different state of not trauma, but just to evolve to a different state of processing the emotion of tragedy.
Yeah. Because you got the two characters. You got Zoe, right, who's the girlfriend, and then you got the sister. Now, Zoe, the girlfriend, she's already on the road to redemption. She took the different path, right? She wasn't out for revenge. She took to clean up herself. She said, okay, I'm going to heal what's going on in me, and I'm going to face my life. I'm going to face my demons, and I'm going to go to recovery.
No.
And I'm going to, because I lost the man I love, through that means. So I'm going to take care of myself. Now, the sister's still angry. And so she's stuck. She's stuck in that vengeance, and she can't get to the road of redemption or healing until she goes through the process, and Zoe comes in, steps, intervenes, helps her out. And then as that compassion and the support comes from Zoe, that was the critical element, turning point of the sister, the main character. What's the main sister's name?
Dara.
That was Dara's turning point, where she let down her vengeance to see another person's love for her. And that love ignited something in her that changed her.
No, absolutely it did. Yeah. Absolutely it did, especially because Zoe was one of the people Dara was holding responsible for this, just because that's how she knew her. She knew her as the, can we curse?
Yeah.
She knew her as the fuck up girlfriend that was dragging her brother along with her. But in reality, it might have been the opposite way. It might have been the fuck up brother dragging Zoe down. We don't know. Yep. But when especially that moment where she hears where she hears Zoe admit that she was in rehab, that was a pivotal point for Dara, realizing like maybe I've been a little harsh on this woman,
Yep. Yeah. And then ultimately, you know, in talking about it right now, it's like, wait, what was the key that unlocked Dara's heart? And it's, well, Zoe saved her life potentially, but it's Zoe's compassion
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
her, you know.
Mhm.
And you know, that's always a powerful message.
Yeah, it's almost like, well, it is like Zoe, Zoe understood the pain Dara was going through, and Dara didn't want anyone to understand it. And she definitely didn't want someone she viewed as the druggy junkie to understand it. But really, it's probably these are things that are hitting me, you know, post writing and making. But those probably things Zoe learned in rehab on how to process this type of challenging emotion, and she was able to get through to Dara. So that was the important part for me, was to get these two. It was the redemption beats the revenge thing, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Since you made the movie,
Mhm.
how have you been changed?
Another good question. Uh, it's definitely, on a professional level, it's definitely made me excited to work with actors again. It's made me excited to want to do more things with professionals that I could stretch my creativity and my craft on. You know, I've spent a long time honing the craft. So what I'm excited about is to do the next thing and to see how much better I can make it than Midnight. To see the things I did uh, waver on or waver away from the original vision of Midnight. I want to see if I have the strength to do those things on the next film, and the next film, and the next film. Yeah.
Mm, I love that, man.
Yeah.
That's so so important. Like,
Yeah.
because I know what you mean. The things that you
Yeah.
stayed away from that you thought maybe were too experimental, too scary,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know, can you just, because that's the stuff.
Yeah. Or even something like if a DP says, "Well, I don't think we could get this shot," and or 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 you're in a location and you have to be out in 3 hours, and instead of worrying about the time, kind of find a way to focus that energy to communicating with the actors and still be able to get your day done. You know, it was things like that. Like there were some things that I'm lucky I had great actors, because there are some directing choices I made where I was too focused on things I didn't have control over versus, you know, having the actors bond in a scene together. You know, it's just,
Great point.
you know.
Would you care to reflect on personally how you've been changed by it?
And personally, I think every as you can probably relate to this as a filmmaker, is that every film you make is an endeavor of a personal journey, you know. And I think getting any film done, especially even bad films, but just getting any film done it's gonna you make sacrifices that you don't really know you're gonna make, especially people who don't have budgets to throw money at problems, you know. I think personally, I got a great sense of accomplishment. It's the one film that's been nominated for all kinds of awards, and I think it brought me closer to being okay with the fact that I feel I had this traumatic incident happen, and feeling that it's okay to process it. You know, it's okay to talk about it. You don't have to internalize it. You know, you could go the Dara route, or you could go the Zoe route. You know, and one of those routes is dark, and one of those routes is
Yep.
it's not sunshine and rainbows, but it's helpful. You know.
Yep. And it's towards the light,
Yeah.
you know, towards the light.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Thank you. Tony Lugo, filmmaker, writer, director, Midnight. More to come. Tony, send us more work. We want to share it with people.
Absolutely.
Thanks
Thank you
for
very much.
my pleasure, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. Till next time, everybody, play it forward.